My name is Dean Sines. I'm Deputy Director of Peachtree NORML in Georgia, and we're happy to come over here and everything. I'm so proud to be invited and so proud to come over here and represent Georgia and help our sister state over here in Alabama and everything in their fight. Because like everybody's been saying and everything, you know, I mean, this is something that's nationwide, it's worldwide, something that everybody needs to do. We have 26 states, including the District of Columbia and everything, that have some form of medical. We have 4 states that have legalized. And it's just a plant. This war, the war on drugs, was declared in 1970 by Richard Nixon. It's been 40 years, $1 trillion later, and the plant's still winning. That should tell you something right there. You know, the DEA recently came out and said that they weren't going to reschedule cannabis. And they said the reasons why: it has no current accepted medical value. That's a lie. We know better than that. It has a high potential for abuse. Cheeseburgers have a higher potential for abuse. And it lacks accepted safety use under medical supervision. So are you saying that a bunch of law enforcement, politicians, and lawyers know better what we can put into our body than the doctors do? I think not. DEA budget is $74 billion a year. That's more than the gross national product of 134 different countries. From 1971 to date, there's been over 20 million people locked up for use of this plant. Prison cost, Alabama, $462.5 million a year is your budget for prison cost. That averages out to $17,285 per person that you have locked up. And in Alabama, you only spend $9,028 for education. That's why Alabama is number 7 in incarceration and number 40 in education. These are the statistics we need to be telling the people up here in this buildings. We need to tell them, get off your butts. You are our elected officials. You're supposed to be representing the will of the people, not the will of the special interest groups, not the will of the pharmacy companies, not the people, the lobbyists that are coming up here spending thousands of dollars taking you out on golf tournaments and lunch at expensive restaurants and everything else. No. And the only way that we can make a change is by people like you getting together, doing events like this, because this is one of the last freedoms that we have. When they take away our free speech, we have no rights no more. We have currently, this year, we have an opportunity that has not presented itself in over 80 years in our electoral system. We have 469 seats in Congress that are up for re-election. It is time to smoke the vote, get up there, clean house, vote these people out. We have people that have been sitting up there for 40 plus years. No, it is so much easier to get somebody out after their first term than it is after they've got their roots dug in and they've been there for 40 years and they've made all these contacts. So if we can just get 10% of them out of office, the rest of them will sit up and take notice. You want to get a politician's attention? You either talk money or you start talking votes. That's what we have to do. And this is why we do these things and everything. You know, the people that come out here and everything, we're all like everybody else. I'm just like you. I'm your brother, I'm your father, I'm your son, I'm your uncle, I'm your co-workers. We're everyday people. We don't get paid to do this. You know, we spend our own money to come and do stuff like this, to try to educate people. It's because we're very passionate about this. We believe in our right, my body, my choice. You know, I don't want them telling me, I don't want a bunch of legislators up here deciding what I can put into my body and what's the best for me. In Georgia, we only have 4 of 128 that have medical backgrounds. So you're telling me a bunch of lawyers and accountants and everything know better what to treat my body with than the medical doctors do. I begged and pleaded with them. I told them, I said, all we need you to do is write the law so the doctors can do their jobs. This is what we want. We're not asking for a lot. We're not asking for nothing far-fetched or out of the way. Up until 1942, cannabis was legal. It was in over 800 different medicines that you could buy over the counter. Then they turned around and they changed all that. The American Medical Association did not want this to happen. They said, no, we don't want this, we don't want this. Well, special interest groups like Bayer They had just formed a patent for a little thing called aspirin. So they were all in favor of having cannabis illegal. And this is how this came into being. It wasn't because this is a deadly drug or this is a dangerous drug or anything else. In the history of mankind, nobody has ever OD'd from cannabis. And God knows I've tried. And if anybody wants to put the test to an experiment and everything, I'll be a guinea pig. I'll volunteer. Bring me all that you got. And we'll sit here and we'll blaze the night away. Now, I want to see exactly how much it'll take for me to OD. The worst thing that could ever happen, I go to sleep or I go and I attack my refrigerator and I get up the next day and I have to go to the grocery store because I've ate everything in the house.
It happens.
It does happen. That's the only casualty I've ever seen besides the war on drugs and the lives that it destroys. We're tearing families apart. We're taking children away from their families. You know, yeah, I tell you these things, these are not pleasant facts, but these are the facts that we live with every day. And these are the facts that people need to be made aware of. People need to know this is what's happening. This is what the war on drugs does. And if people say, well, I don't do drugs, the war doesn't affect me, this doesn't apply to me, wrong. Number one, if you drink coffee, if you take over-the-counter prescriptions or prescription medication, anything, you've done drugs. Caffeine's a drug, sugar's a drug. Alcohol's a drug. All these things are drugs. And if you think the war doesn't affect you, look at your tax bill. Your tax dollars, where do you think this money comes from? It doesn't magically drop out of the sky. No, it comes from your taxes. I think our money could be better spent. And this is what we've got to start convincing these folks up here in these buildings and everything, because they seem to have forgotten. You are elected by the people. You work for us. You're supposed to be representing the will of the people. Most of them have forgotten that. So when it comes November, or it comes the next election and everything, I know I'm going to piss a lot of them off saying this, if it's got an I next to their name, it means incumbent. If you're not sure of the issue, vote the other person. Get these people out. If we start voting some of these long-term people out, the other ones are going to sit up and they're going to take notice. We have been successful in the past 3 years. We've shut down the servers in Washington, D.C. twice with email blast. NORML has organized email blast and everything, getting people to write their representatives and everything and email them. And we pick certain dates and certain times and everything, and everybody sends them in like a 2-hour block. And we have literally shut down the servers at the White House. And that is a feat. And if that doesn't get people's attention, then I don't know what will. They say that we're the minority. No, we are the majority. And we're not going nowhere. When Prohibition was put into play, they estimated there was 300,000 people that smoked cannabis. Now there's over 30 million people. You think Prohibition works? Nah. The only thing it does, it creates a black market. Yeah, they say cannabis is a gateway drug. Yeah, it's a gateway to healing. The only way it can be a gateway drug is because most people that sell drugs, most of your street corner drug dealers, they don't only sell cannabis. They sell other drugs. They sell crystal meth, they sell cocaine, they sell pills, they sell whatever. So you go to them, you buy a dime bag of weed and everything. They don't make money off of that. They make money off this other stuff. They're always, oh, well, here, try this. You like this? Here, try this. That's the way it's a gateway drug, because of people having to go to the black market. They're exposed to all this other stuff that most likely they would never get exposed to otherwise. I've never met anybody that said, you know what, when I grow up, I want to be a heroin junkie, or I want to be a meth addict. People don't start out with these intentions. They start out because they're trying to alleviate their pain. And if they can't get a quality product that's quality controlled, to where we know what's in it, we know it's been tested, it's not got mold, it hasn't been sprayed with some other chemical or something that somebody's cooked up in their basement and everything to try to make it more potent, so it'll be loud, as they say, so they can get a higher dollar rate for it. We just want safe access. We want safe access to a plant that God put on this earth. It's mentioned 17 times in the Bible. It says, God gave us everything that we need to survive and to be healthy. Well, this is one of God's greatest gifts. And why are we still, in this modern age of reason, why are we letting these people sit up here and tell us that we cannot have access? Nobody should have to leave their home, whether it's Alabama, Georgia, Florida, whatever state. Nobody should have to leave and leave their families and their friends and the lives that they built to go to another state. where they can get access for a plant. That's stupid. We can grow it right here. There's so much money to be made off of it. It is unbelievable. Alabama is what they call a hybrid 2 state. And this means that first time, if you get caught, if it's less than an ounce, it's a misdemeanor. But second time you get arrested, I don't care, it could be a roach in your ashtray. Guess what? It's automatically a felony. You get that felony conviction, that's it. You can't get a grant to go to school. You lose assistance. If you have Medicaid or food stamps or anything, you lose that. You can lose your housing. You can lose your cars. You lose your jobs. You lose your family. You lose your kids. How is this benefiting anyone? The war on drugs has done more harm than all of the drugs that are available on the street combined ever have and ever will. If people have safe access and whole plant medicine, they don't have to go to the streets. And this is all we're asking them. We're begging these people up here, and we should not have to beg these people for something that is a basic human right. Our founding fathers said, you know, in the Constitution, it says all men are created equal. All men are guaranteed the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Well, why is it that we've gotten so far away from that, that because I choose to use a plant, a natural organic substance, that I am labeled a criminal, and I can lose everything that I have and I can be incarcerated? It does not make sense to me. We lock up somebody for 20 years for possession of pot. Somebody rapes somebody, they get out in 3 months. Where is that? If we put an end to this drug war and free all the pot prisoners, we can open up the prison system for the real criminals, the bankers, the Bernie Madoffs that are out here stealing people's monies. And yes, the politicians that sit up here in our Capitol and everything, a lot of them are some of the biggest crooks around. You know, how about this? Why don't we let the people that are using a pot and using a little plant, you know, cannabis, pot, marijuana, whatever you want to call it. I prefer the term cannabis. This is the scientific term for it. You know, cannabis is medicine, and it's scientifically proven to be. That's scientific fact. Let's stop locking people up for what they choose to, how they choose to medicate, and start locking people up for more serious crimes. You know, 80% of all car break-ins are never solved. 88% of auto thefts are never cleared. Well, you know what? If you stop having people going out here looking for our kids and hassling teenagers and people just minding their own business, sitting in their own homes, you go kick in their door and everything because somebody said, oh, they're growing marijuana. They've got a marijuana plant in their yard. We go and kick in their door and everything like the Gestapo and everything. Why are we doing this? You know, why don't you take that time and that money that's wasted on law enforcement and let's go and spend that and go after the real criminals, and then everybody can feel a lot safer. So like I said, I really appreciate y'all coming out here and being invited to come over here and speak and everything. I'm going to wrap this up and make this real short for everybody. I just have one thing to say. Together we can and will make a change, but it's going to take all of us working together. That's why we come over here to support y'all. And we work, NORML works with groups. We work with LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. We work with the NAACP. We work with the Black Panther Party. We work with the ACLU. We'll work with anybody. We're all in this for a common cause. And if we all pull our strengths and work together, we can put an end to this. This has been a 40-year, trillion-dollar travesty in American history. And it's time to put a stop to it. And together, we will. Thank you very much.
Woo! Great speech.